JD Vance went from a small-town kid in Ohio to best-selling author, U.S. Senator, and now one of the most powerful players in American politics. But behind the rise of a Hillbilly Elegy, author is a billionaire lifestyle shaped by Silicon Valley money, high-profile connections, and a taste of the good life. Today, we're breaking down the wealth, the homes, the power circles, and the luxury perks of JD Vance's billionaire world. JD Vance's transformation into a major political figure can't be separated from the financial muscle behind him. After graduating from Yale Law School, Vance had options: big law firms, clerkships, government jobs. But he chose Silicon Valley. There, he worked for Mithril Capital, a venture firm co-founded by Peter Thiel. This wasn't just a job. It was an apprenticeship into one of the most elite billionaire networks in America. In 2019, Thiel wrote Vance's biggest check yet, seeding $93 million into Narya Capital, Vance's Cincinnati-based fund. The name comes from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, the Ring of Fire, symbolizing power and influence. And it fits, because this fund opened doors to biotech startups, military contractors, and bleeding-edge tech that only billionaires get access to before the public. Through these deals, Vance wasn't just making money. He was building a Rolodex of the most powerful venture capitalists and corporate executives in the country. It also tied him directly to Silicon Valley's culture of secrecy and exclusivity. When everyday people buy stock, they're gambling on the scraps left over. But with Narya Capital, Vance and his partners get to sit at the table where wealth is created. This is the pipeline that built his war chest, gave him political credibility, and allowed him to shift from working-class storyteller to U.S. Senator with billionaire backing. Without Thiel and Silicon Valley, the JD Vance brand simply doesn't exist. Vance presents himself as a voice for small towns and working families, but his personal real estate tells another story. His main residence sits in Cincinnati's East Walnut Hills, one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the region. These are homes built in the early 1900s, restored with modern luxury. Grand staircases, sprawling lawns, and panoramic views of the Ohio River. His home costs over $1 million, but more importantly, it places him squarely among Cincinnati's business and political elite. This is a starter home or a modest family house. It's the kind of estate designed for fundraisers, private gatherings, and quiet comfort far away from the struggles he describes in Hillbilly Elegy. For many voters, it's a sharp contrast. The man who once said he came from a world of broken homes and addiction now lives in a mansion that embodies stability, security, and generational wealth. And then there's California. During his Silicon Valley years, Vance lived in San Francisco, surrounded by tech money and luxury real estate markets where the median home price often breaks $1.5 million. Even if he doesn't publicly flaunt those ties, those years build habits and connections in places where the average worker could never afford to live. For a politician who brands himself as Middle America's champion, his real estate tells a story of someone who has fully embraced the lifestyle of the elite he claims to fight against. Being a venture capitalist and now a U.S. Senator means J.D. Vance has access to a world most Americans never see. The perks aren't just about money. They're about access, convenience, and status. Take private aviation, for example. Flying commercial is for the masses. Vance's circles often move by private jet, faster, more secure, and a clear signal of status. Whether it's heading to a political event or a closed-door meeting with investors, this mode of travel is standard for his billionaire peers, and he's often right there with them. Then there's the world of exclusive clubs and galas. In Washington, Vance attends high-dollar fundraisers at private dining clubs, where entry requires an invitation, and often tens of thousands of dollars in donations. These dinners aren't just about eating steak and sipping wine. They're about deal-making, trading influence, and building relationships with the kinds of people who can write six-figure checks overnight. Education and family life also reflect the lifestyle shift. Vance's children are being raised with opportunities that echo America's elite families. Top private schools, access to influential networks, and security from the struggles that defined his early years. This doesn't just shape their lives. It cements Vance's permanent membership in an exclusive social class. The perks are subtle but powerful. They don't show up on campaign ads or in press interviews, but they define the billionaire lifestyle Vance now lives. The biggest perk of all is access to power. And JD Vance has mastered the art of networking inside the world's most exclusive political circles. His relationship with Donald Trump is the clearest example. Once a vocal critic of Trump, Vance reversed course after Thiel poured millions into his Senate campaign. The strategy worked. Trump endorsed him, and with Thiel's financial backing, Vance won. That victory didn't just make him a senator. It plugged him into a network of billionaires, donors, and lobbyists who shape U.S. policy behind scenes. Today, Vance isn't just shaking hands in Ohio diners. He's attending private retreats where political megadonors map out strategy, often at luxury resorts or members-only venues shielded from cameras. These circles give him something no book or campaign speech ever could: direct access to billionaires who treat politics as an investment. They see Vance not just as a politician, but as a vehicle for advancing their worldview on taxes, regulation, tech policy, and even global trade. At the same time, his alliance with Trump means he's often side by side with the former president's donor base, which includes casino moguls, oil executives, and hedge fund billionaires. Each fundraiser, each private dinner, each retreat solidifies Vance's position as a trusted insider. It's not the gritty world of Appalachia. It's the plush, backroom world of billionaires deciding America's future. This is where the irony hits hardest. JD Vance rose to fame by writing Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir about poverty, addiction, and instability in Appalachia. It resonated with millions because it felt real. He was one of them. But today, the gap between his image and his reality is enormous. On one hand, Vance still speaks a language of working-class values: family, faith, personal responsibility. On the other, his daily life looks nothing like that of his supporters. He wakes up in a $1 million mansion. He travels by private jet or flies first class to Washington. He dines with billionaires who influence his policy positions. And he raises his family in comfort that the struggling towns of Appalachia will never know. For many, this is the ultimate contradiction. Is J.D. Vance still the voice of forgotten America, or has he become just another elite who uses that story as political branding? Supporters might argue that he made it out and shows what's possible. Critics see someone who abandoned his roots to embrace the billionaire class. Either way, his story is no longer just about hardship and resilience. It's about what happens when a man from humble beginnings is absorbed into the very system he once claimed to stand against. The billionaire lifestyle isn't just a perk, it's now his permanent reality. So when you hear JD Vance talk about working-class values, remember this. He's living a billionaire lifestyle funded by Silicon Valley's richest and powered by America's political elite. Whether you see him as a success story or a sellout, it's clear JD Vance is no longer just a kid from Ohio. He's a card-carrying member of America's billionaire class. What do you think? Is JD Vance still one of the people, or has he gone full billionaire? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the lives of America's power players.